So let's talk finding self-worth and confidence. So over the weekend I had the delight of chatting to a couple of different friends, and the conversation went along the lines of, I hate how I look around the middle area, I hate these jiggly bits. You get the general picture, right? And so what they were focused on was all of the things that they disliked about themselves. And so I started to think about this, and I then responded and said, why do we do that? Why do we focus on the things that we don't like about ourselves as opposed to how we're feeling, or how we, the things that we bring into this world, or just the things that are fantastic about ourselves? We just tend to ignore those things. And one of my friends said, oh yeah, like I've got great legs. And it was like, oh yeah, you have got great legs. And so why do we focus on the bit that we don't like as opposed to the bits that are fantastic about ourselves? So here's some interesting stats. From the age of 17, 89% of women have body confidence issues. So they don't like something about themselves, whether that be, the shape of their nose, their ears, their belly, their bottom, legs, whatever it happens to be. And so I started to have a look at some research around women over the age of 50. And so here's an interesting one, is that over the age of 50, 50% of us dislike our bodies, so much so that we feel embarrassed about them, and that we won't take that step forward to go and do some exercise because we have this fear of being judged. Well, here's the thing, ladies. When you're working out, the person next to you is not looking at you. They are focused on themselves. They are doing a workout. So there isn't that, we need to stop thinking that the person next to us is going to judge us. And quite frankly, that's the next aspect of it. We shouldn't be looking to those external sources for validation of how good we are, our self-worth, our confidence. We need to look more internally at ourselves and stop focusing on the things we don't like as opposed to focusing on the things that we do like about ourselves. And I'm sure you can find something, right? And then the next part of it is to focus on how you feel. So are you feeling blah? Are you feeling like you have energy? Because when you portray yourself, when you stand tall, when you walk tall, you feel more confident. And when you feel more confident, you have more self-worth. And so it's such a simple thing that we can do, is to just, relax our shoulders, draw our belly button in, and stand tall and walk tall, sit tall. And that will give us that little bit of boost of confidence that we might need. And so here's the thing. What happens, and I see this quite often when we're running our transformation programs, is that we focus on the vanity goal. And look, that's great when that vanity goal gets you started. So it's like, I want to lose a little bit around my belly, or I want to, reduce my waist by, 2 inches, or I want to lose, 3 to 4 kilos over the course of 30 days. They're all a great, stepping stone, because they give you the incentive to take that first step. But then what we want to do is to actually take that and think about it from our feeling perspective. So what am I feeling right now? Am I not sleeping well? Am I feeling a little bit sad? Am I feeling stressed? Do I have aches and pains? Where are those aches and pains in my body? what things could I do that I'm noticing that I no longer can do? And so when we can start to, analyze those aspects of our lives, the things that we couldn't do, the things that we're feeling in our body, then what we can do is then go, okay, here's what I want to focus on moving forward. I want to focus on the things that I can change about how I'm feeling. And so when we start to focus on that internal game of those feelings, then what happens is we take the control back. And we all like to be in control, let's face it, but we can't be in control of everything. But we do like to have that little level of control. So when we feel like we're in more control of it, and we're not worried about those external sources, then what happens is we feel more able to do something about it. And so the next thing that I would say is that we really want to think about the people that we have around us. And look, I've been in these situations before where, you hang out with a crowd of people and those people are not really the right people for you. You feel inadequate when you're around them. You feel a lack of self-esteem. You feel less positive, and that you feel yourself, drawing back inwards, and that you're not feeling that you can just be who you are. And so when we're around those people, it makes us feel worse about ourselves, and then we don't feel confident. And so what we want to do is we want to surround ourselves with those people who are the right people for us. We want people who are going to lift us up, but we also want people who are going to call us out. Because let's face it, we all need calling out at some point, because sometimes we do throw those pity parties as well too. And so I want you to think about that aspect. I also want you to think about the stories that you might be telling yourself, the thoughts that you might be having. Because when we think it all the time, what happens is we start to believe it. And when we start to believe it, then it's just reinforcing those negative things about ourselves. And so here's what I want you to do today. Know that you're not alone, that the statistics are really high for women in particular, and men as well too. You'd be really surprised on the men's stats. So women though, in particular, we do tend to feel that our self-worth and that our confidence in who we are comes down to how we look. And so what we need to do is break down that barrier, ladies. We need to say that I am me the way I am, and if you want to change it, I'm all about that, okay? So I'm all about, being healthier, being fitter in our lives so that we can do all the things that we love and enjoy. So here's the steps that you're going to take. I want you to not look for the external, but look for the internal reinforcement of the things that you're good at and the things that you like about yourself. When you go to set some goals, start with the vanity goal if that's where you want to change something. And with that vanity goal, then start to think about the things about you, what you can't do and how you're feeling, and how those are going to change the more you take those steps forward. Surround yourself with those people who are going to lift you up and kick your butt if you need it. And then mind your words, okay? So really focus on what stories you're telling yourselves. And how do you go about that? The first thing that you're going to do right now is you're going to sit up nice and tall, okay? You're going to relax your shoulders. You're going to draw your belly button in. And you're going to say to yourself, I am worth it. So I hope you've enjoyed our thoughts today. And if you'd like to come and join me for more hints, tips and advice around living your healthiest, fittest and strongest life, please go and join me in my free group, Women Over 50, Get Active and Healthy. I'll see you all soon.